Right, in case you ever think the guy they call El Chapo is anything like those two prison inmates who broke out of that upstate New York facility a little more than a month ago, you better think again, because former prison inmate and Gambino mobster Louis Ferrante says even if El Chapo is caught, he won't stay locked up too long. What do we know about him and why no one even knows his whereabouts now?
Hi, Neil. Yeah, what do we know about him is he's a billionaire. I mean, that's pretty much says it all. You're talking about a billionaire. You're not talking about two broken down valises like Sweat and Matt, who were trying to run for the hills in, towards Canada.
So
which
he has
was just
greased
like
the skids for a lot of people to get him out, right?
Yeah, this guy could buy off people like anything. This guy could buy. He probably could buy a president. He's a billionaire, and that speaks volumes down in Latin America, where corruption is rife. I spent for my series, I spent about 3 weeks down in El Salvador, and I spoke with the politicians who made a truce with the gangs to cut the violence, and they were willing to negotiate with gangs. And I told them straight up, I said, we can't do something like that in my country. Politicians can't sit down with gangs and talk to them and negotiate truces with them as if they're fellow, politicians or diplomats. And he said, hey, listen, the justice minister who I spoke with said, hey, listen, this is not America. This is how we have to operate down here to cut the violence. And at the end of the day, if it works for us, it's real politique. That's how we do it down here.
Yeah, we might have also felt, too, that the gangs feared that the politicians would sully their image. But having said that, he is out. He has threatened Donald Trump for his Mexican comments. How serious do you take his threats, whether against Donald Trump or against a lot of the other drug lords who helped throw him in the slammer?
Yeah, it's gonna depend on what he wants to do. He can kill Donald Trump. I mean, there's no question about it. He could buy somebody who's willing to give his own life, who's willing to, maybe do something for his family before his family, rescue his family out of poverty by doing this deed. He could take out Donald Trump if he wants to.
That is how he made a lot of money in the past, right? He looks after, if you're a down and despondent or out of luck guy, he says, go ahead and do this for me. You're probably going to die, but I'll protect your family, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This guy, he's a street psychologist. He knows how to manipulate people. He knows how to use his money. He didn't become a billionaire by accident. He's a sharp guy. And the other thing, too, is, Neil, when I was watching this guy, the video that led up to him disappearing in his shower hole, this guy, I've watched life as pace their cells. It's the pace of a dejected man. It's a hopeless man. This guy was pacing with great anticipation. He knew something was happening. I would have looked at that video and said, this guy's either waiting to get out of the cell and kill somebody, maybe, exact revenge on somebody in the prison, or he's waiting for a helicopter to come. I wouldn't have guessed that it would have been an underground tunnel, but I would have guessed that he's waiting and anxious about something. And sure enough, he got out of there. But he's a serious guy. I would take his threats serious if I was Donald Trump. I would watch my mouth if I was a Donald Trump.
Be a little late for that. But you're right. The difference, I didn't think of it, you're right. The difference is his money. He's got a lot of it. And that can buy a lot of friends, right?
Yeah, billionaire, and no matter where he goes in the world, as long as he's got access to that money, which may be a reason why he stays in Mexico, because that's where most of his money may be. But I'd follow the money trail, find out where his money is, and that's where the guy's probably going. The other thing we do, Neil, in the United States, by the way, I've known people, I've been friendly with two men who were made the list on America's Most Wanted. And the pressure that the United States put on their families made their decision to remain at large so hard. Do I remain a fugitive and torture my family for the rest of their lives, or do I just give myself up? I don't know how hard the Mexican government is playing that card by pressuring anybody around him. I know that his son was tweeting pictures and stuff, or what have you. I don't know what they're doing, but I know here in the United States, the first thing they do is they go hard after your family to make sure that if you have a sense of love for your family or care about your family, you're going to question, do I do this any longer?
Louis, thank you.
I'm not sure if they are either, Neil.
Very good points, all, my friend. Thank you very, very much.